what I want to talk to you about tonight. Here's what I want to talk to you about, because here's what I've come to realize. Here's what I understand is that regardless of whatever kind of mistakes you've made in the past, and I believe that all of us have made some mistakes. We've made financial mistakes. We've made some, unfortunately, we've made some relationship type mistakes. We've made some mistakes as far as we decide to make some decisions that we weren't so proud about. And as we look back, we say, you know what, that was a bonehead decision. I can't believe that I did that. But here's what I say, as much as you may regret those things that you've done in the past, I'm telling you right now that there is something that is so far more greater, something that is going to cost you so much more. And I want to save you from that. And that thing is, the thing that is going to cost you more than anything that you did in the past is those things that you did not do. Listen carefully. Here's what Mark Twain said. He said that 20 years from now, as you look back at your life, as you're sitting down with your grandchildren, depending on where you're at, 20 years from now, as you're at the midlife, in the mid area of your life, and you're halfway through your life expectancy, he says 20 years from now, wherever you are in your life, 20 years from now, whether you find yourself to be in your 40s, in your 50s, in your 60s, in your 70s, in your 80s, in your 90s, listen, 20 years from now, you will look back on your life and you will regret more of the things that you didn't do as opposed to the things that you did do. Listen carefully. I want you to get this. Listen, 20 years from now, as you look back on your life, you will regret more of the things that you did not do as opposed to the things that you did do. And so when you look back at your life, you're going to regret the fact that maybe perhaps that you didn't write the book. You'll find yourself regretting the fact that maybe perhaps that you didn't start the business. You'll find yourself regretting the fact that maybe perhaps you didn't go and start and go back and get that other degree. You'll find yourself regretting the fact that maybe perhaps you didn't make the career change that you want to do. But literally 20 years from now, you will find yourself literally regretting more, not the things that you did. Because listen, this is where the shortfall is. A lot of times we believe that the things that we're going to regret the most are the things that we've done. And so all of us, if we're honest and transparent, there's probably some things that we've done in the past that we really, really, truly regret. We wish that we can take those things back, because unfortunately, those things came with some significant consequences. Unfortunately, those things caused our life to go in a different way. Unfortunately, those things caused us to lose a significant investment. Maybe those things caused us to actually lose a relationship that was very important to us. Maybe those things cost us a significant amount of time. And as much as those things may weigh, as disappointed as you may be at some of those poor decisions that you've made in the past, understand this, that you will still, 20 years from now, the things that you will regret the most are the things that you did not do. The fact that you didn't write the book, the fact that you didn't start the business, the fact that you didn't do the career change, the fact that you didn't follow your instinct and decide to make the shift and the move to go after your purpose and your calling and the thing that you want to do. The fact that you did not live out your purpose and your calling in life. The fact that you did not decide to make that significant. Listen, it's the things that you did not do. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because, listen, something just completely jumped out at me. I literally recall, listen carefully, I was watching an interview, and on the panel of the interview, perhaps two of the most influential people on the planet right now in the business space. There are two people who are on the panel. It was Bill Gates sitting over to the left, and literally it was Warren Buffett sitting to the right. And so they are on the panel and they were being interviewed. And while they were on the panel, they were being interviewed. There's a woman who got up out of the audience, and the woman, it was Q&A time, and the woman got out of the audience, and here's what she said. She looked over at Warren Buffett. She said, "Mr. Buffett, I have a question for you." And Mr. Buffett said, "Okay." And she says, "Let me ask you a question, Mr. Buffett. You have literally always been one of the richest men on the planet. You have an estimated net worth of literally billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. You are known for being literally the investor genius, right? The investor oracle, as they call him, right?" And she says, "Out of all of the investments that you've made, we know that you've made billions of dollars, that we know. But she said, out of all of the investments that you've made," she said, "what is the investment that has been the worst investment that you have ever made?" She said, "What is the investment that has cost you to literally lose the most amount of money?" And so first, jokingly, Warren Buffett said, "How much time do you have?" Right? And so the whole audience laughs and chuckles. But here's what he said right after that. And this is where the lesson is for us. Here's what Warren Buffett is. This is literally the guy who every single year is amongst one of the richest people on the planet, in the world. Many times has been #1 on that list, okay? And has literally made all kinds of investments, accumulated billions of dollars. And she said, what is the worst investment that you have ever made? What is the investment that you've lost the most amount of money on? And Warren Buffett responds, and this is what he says to her. He says, you know what? I try not to dwell on the investments that I've made that didn't quite work out. He said, however, I'll tell you this. He said, what I've lost the most amount of money on are the investments that I didn't make. Listen carefully. Here's what he said. He said, what I literally lost the most amount of money on are the investments that I didn't make. He said, those investments that I had enough information to take action, and for one reason or another, I chose not to take action. He said, those are the investments that cost me the most, because he said, had I taken action, those investments would have accumulated to literally billions and billions and billions of dollars. Listen carefully. Here's what he said. He said, where he lost the lowest amount of money is literally on the investments that he did not take, the things that he had enough information to act upon, but he did not act upon it. And so here's what I say to you. I'm telling you right now that chances are, when you look at your life and you think about the things that you want to make happen, the things that literally that can help you to get to the next level, oftentimes the things that are going to get you there are the actions that you have not yet taken. It's the actions that you have procrastinated, the actions that you've deliberated over, the actions that you keep putting off, the actions that fear, doubt, and worry continue to pop up and keep you from moving forward. Understand this, that 20 years from now, you're going to regret more of the things that you did not do as opposed to the things that you did do. The things that are going to cost you the most in life are the actions, the ideas, the instincts, the dreams, the passion, the purposes that you did not act on. And so I'm going to challenge you right now, in spite of whatever's going on in your mind, in spite of the setbacks, in spite of challenges, I'm going to challenge you right now to literally make a decision to act. This is the time for you to start simply taking action. Listen, here's what I'm going to tell you. I know that sometimes you want to have all the pieces together. You want to know what all the pieces of the puzzle are. You want to have all the information, but understand this, that when it comes to your goals, when it comes to your dreams, when it comes to you advancing, when it comes to you getting to the next level, you need just enough information to be able to act. You need just enough information to be able to start the book. You need just enough information to start pursuing the business. You need just enough information to start taking the step to do the thing that you know that you've been called to do. Listen, you're not going to have all the pieces to the puzzle. You're not going to have everything figured out, and that's okay. At some point, you have to be willing to just simply act. Here's what I want you to do right now, because listen, some of you have been stuck on pause. Some of you have something that you've been wanting to do. You've been thinking about it. You've been deliberating about it. You've been procrastinating about it. You've allowed fear, doubt, and worry to surface. And every time you talk yourself into it, you keep talking yourself out of it. You keep saying to yourself, I don't know if this is the right timing. You keep saying to yourself that I don't know, this is too risky. You keep saying to yourself, I don't know if I have enough time in my schedule. You keep saying to yourself, I don't know if things are going to work out. And what I'm saying to you is this: scratch all of that. And all you need to do is have just enough information to be able to take action. Listen, right now, if you are committed to taking action on your goals and your dreams, if you're committed to taking your life to the next level, if you're committed to creating a shift, I want you to do something right now. Put your fingers to the keyboard right now and put hashtag take action. Hashtag take action. That's just going to be your way of letting me know that right now that you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and that you are no longer going to postpone and delay your goals and your dreams, and that you're going to be intentional from this moment on. And you're not going to allow yourself to experience the significant cost of not taking action. And so all I want you to do right now, just put hashtag take action. Hashtag take action. And that's just a commitment, not to me. It's a commitment to yourself. Because at some point, we have to be willing to release the pause button. At some point, we have to stop deliberating. At some point, we need to stop hiding out. At some point, we need to simply just act on just what it is that we know. Understand this, that when you decide not to decide, that in and of itself is a decision. I want you to write that down. Listen carefully. When you decide not to decide, that in and of itself is a decision. And with that decision comes consequences. With that decision is going to be an outcome. And oftentimes when we decide not to decide, oftentimes what we're doing is we're postponing our dreams. We're postponing the book. We're postponing the business. We're postponing the breakthrough. We're postponing making some significant and major things happening in our lives. So understand, every time you decide not to decide, you are in fact making a decision. And oftentimes the decision is coming with some consequences, and the consequences are those things that you are forfeiting. And so I'm looking for some people right now who are serious about taking some action. And so if you're serious about taking some action, do me a favor right now in the comment section, just go ahead and put hashtag take action, hashtag take action. That's just going to let me know. That just lets me know that you are serious about taking action. You are serious about taking your life to the next level. Listen, I'm going to be very transparent with you. Let me just share something with you right now. I need you to understand this. You know, I think about this. When I was still working in corporate America, I was working as a CPA. I was working with a wonderful company by the name of PricewaterhouseCoopers. There came a point when I was working in corporate America that I came to a personal realization of myself that I wanted to pursue more, that I wanted to do more, that I believed that there was more for me. And even though I was with a great company, even though I spent all the time getting my undergraduate degree in accounting, I had a master's degree in corporate accounting, I had my CPA license, something inside me was saying, Andy, there's got to be more than this. But understand this. Here's what I want you to understand. For about a year and a half, I thought about taking a step of faith and stepping out there and going after my goals and my dreams. For a year and a half, I thought about becoming an entrepreneur. For a year and a half, I thought about going out there and trying to figure out what my purpose was, what my calling was. For a year and a half, and here's what I did every single time. I would think about it, and then fear would pop up, and then worry would pop up, then doubt would pop up, and I would talk myself into it, and then I would talk myself right back out of it. Maybe perhaps you've done that before, where there's something that you wanted to do, something that you wanted to act on. You knew instinctively that it was something for you to do. However, you would consider it, and then afterwards, all of a sudden, fear, doubt, worry popped up. You start to have this internal conversation, and next thing you know, you are talking yourself out of it. You are backstepping. And so I literally did that for about a year and a half, And the reason why I didn't take action, I need you to understand this, because this is where oftentimes where there's going to be a breakthrough for you. The reason why I didn't take action is because I found myself focusing a whole lot on what I didn't know. I found myself focusing a whole lot on all the things that I didn't know. And so when I go back to listening to what Warren Buffett was talking about, when the lady said, what's the worst investment that you've ever made? He said, I don't dwell on that, but he says, I tell you by far, I've lost the most on the things that I didn't act on. The investments that I had enough information to act on, but I didn't act on it. And so here's what I want you to understand. I was working in corporate America, and for a year and a half, I was talking myself into it and out of it. But when I look back and I think about what had me stuck, I'm going to tell you what had me stuck. What had me stuck is I put more focus and more emphasis on what I didn't know. And so here's what I want you to understand. There are several things that I didn't know. Number one, I had no idea exactly what I was going to do. So I knew I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to step out there and pursue my purpose and my passion. I didn't know, number one, what the first step was going to be. Number two, I did not even know at that time what my purpose or what my passion, what my calling was. I didn't know how I was going to replace my income at the job. I had no idea how I was going to do that. I didn't know how people were going to perceive me, what they were going to think of me, because I had got my undergraduate degree in accounting, my master's degree in accounting. I just literally, there's a lot of things I didn't know. And because of the fact that I didn't know these things, I allowed them to literally paralyze me. I allowed them to have me stay put. But here's what I want you to understand. I'm going to repeat this a couple times because I don't want this to go over your head. Listen carefully on this. The first part is appearing right here, and I want you to write this down. Listen carefully. If you move on what you know, things will ultimately become clear to you. Understand this. If you move with just a little bit of information that you do know, And so I need you to understand this. When I was working in corporate America, there's a bunch of things that when I made the decision I wanted to leave and what had me stuck for a year and a half, there's a bunch of things that I didn't know. I didn't know exactly what my next step was. I didn't know what career path I was going to take. I didn't know how I was going to replace my income at the job. I didn't know what other people were going to think of me. I didn't know if I was going to fail or if I was going to succeed. There's a bunch of things that I did not know. And because my focus, my energy was on what I didn't know, it caused me to not take any action. And so what I want you to understand here is oftentimes the reason why we get stuck, is because we put a whole lot of focus and a whole lot of emphasis and a whole lot of energy on all the things that we do not know. Now, here's the other part of it. Here's what I want you to understand. Write this down. Listen, if you move on what you know, things will become clear to you. But understand this. If you don't move on what you don't know will paralyze you. I'm going to say that one more time. I need you to get this. This is profound. And I want you to think about this. I want you to write this down. I want you to think about this and apply this to your life. Listen carefully. If you move on what you know, things will become clear to you. There are some things that you know now. What you know now is that you have a gift, that you have something that you need to develop. There's something that you need to act upon that you believe is going to be able to create a shift and a change in your life and the life of others. There are some things that you know. What you know is that you have a book inside of you and that you need to get that book out. There's something that you know that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. There's some things that you know that this job that you're working right now, maybe this thing is not necessarily the job that you really want to have. There's some things that you know that you're not living out your purpose and your calling. There's some things that you know that you want to have a more happy, fulfilling marriage and relationship. There's some things that you know that you want to lose some weight, that you want to get out of debt. There's some things that you know. Listen, there's plenty and there's enough for you to know. And then one of the things that you know is that you want to create a change. Listen carefully. If you move on what you know, and trust me, contrary to what you believe, you know enough to at least begin the process, to at least take action. But listen, I want you to write this whole thing down. If you move on what you know, things will become clear to you. But if you don't move on what you know, what you don't know will paralyze you. And that's where most of us get stuck. We get stuck on the things that we do not know. And that costs us big time, because it keeps us from taking action. And so ultimately, we have to be willing to move on just a little bit of information that we have. Listen, right now, do me a favor, put hashtag move. And so what it means is you have enough information to move and make the phone call. You have enough information to move and start writing the book. You have enough information to move and start looking for that new career path. You have enough information to move and start putting yourself in position for your goal and your destiny. You have enough information to simply move. And so listen carefully. You got to be willing. You got to be willing to simply move. Do it right now. Hashtag move, hashtag move, hashtag move. And this is your way of just simply acknowledging that you're willing to simply move. Don't allow yourself to get fixated. Don't allow yourself to just focus on what you do not know. What you don't know will paralyze you. Create a shift and a focus and just focus on what you do know, even if what you know is just a little bit. Listen, you only need to have just a little bit of information to be able to start taking action. You only need just a little bit of information in order to create a shift in your life. You only need just a little bit of information for you to start pushing yourself and getting yourself to the next level. And so listen carefully. Stop waiting to have all the pieces of the puzzle. Life doesn't work out that way. Listen, I remember one time I bought a whole puzzle box. I think it was like a 500-piece puzzle. And I remember I got to one particular point in the puzzle and I realized that I was missing a couple of pieces. It was almost at the grand finale, right? And so I'm looking all across the living room. I'm looking everywhere because I know that they triple and they double check that box, and that box comes with 500 pieces. And sure enough, I looked, and underneath the couch, I had a couple pieces fall under there, and one little piece was between the couch. But here's what I want you to understand. It doesn't always work out like that in life. You see, a lot of times when you're trying to figure things out, there's no guarantee that you're going to have all the pieces to the puzzle. Sometimes you got to move even with the incomplete puzzle, you got to still be willing to move forward and pursue your goals and your dreams. You got to still be willing to start writing the book. You got to still be willing to start developing and working on your craft. You need to still be willing to invest in your passion and develop your passion and find out what your calling, your purpose is. Listen carefully. Listen, a lot of times in life, you are not going to have all the pieces to the puzzle. And so you've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to get comfortable with working what you have. Listen, you got to move with what you have. You got to work with what you have. I was talking to one of my buddies earlier today, and we were talking about some new technology and some new equipment because he's getting ready to do some videos. And then so he said, you know what, Andy, I'm going to stop focusing on all this new technology, and I'm just going to work with what I have. He says, I got a cell phone. I could use that. I got a 4K camera. I could use that. But I'm going to stop focusing on what I don't have. Sometimes, listen, you got to move with what you got. You got to work with what you got. Somebody type that in right now. Work with what you have. Work with what you got. Stop trying to convince yourself that you don't have. Listen, one of my mentors said, he said, it's not what you don't have, but it's what you think you need that keeps you from having the success that you want in your life. Listen, write this down. This is profound. Les Brown said this. Listen, he says, it's not what you don't have, but it's what you think you need that's keeping you from having what you want to have in life. And so we get fixated and we start believing, I don't have this, I don't have that. Listen carefully. You have what you need. Work with what you have. Stop convincing yourself that you don't have. Listen carefully. It's not what you don't have. It's what you think you need that's keeping you from having success in life. You have what you need right now to be able to start the business. You have what you need right now to be able to start pushing yourself forward. You have what you need right now to get to that next level, and stop convincing yourself that, wait a second, I don't have what it takes. I don't have the right initials behind my name. I don't have the right certification. I don't have the right amount of money in my bank account. I don't have the right connections. I don't have the right amount of experience. All of that is a bunch of baloney. Listen, you got enough information to be dangerous. You got enough information to be able to take action. You simply need enough information to act. Listen, nothing substitutes action. You got to be willing to act right now and move forward on this thing that you've been wanting to do. Somebody do me a favor right now, because I know that there's somebody that you're connected to that is part of your tribe that needs to hear this message right now, this minute, because I got something else that I want to share. So do me a quick favor right now and hit the share button, And when you're done, just do me a quick favor, put hashtag shared. Hashtag shared. That's going to just simply let me know that you're sharing the love and that you're pushing the message out and making sure that somebody else is going to get this before I get to the next point. Because here's what I want you to know. And I told you this a little earlier, and I want you to write this down. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. Write this down. Do me a favor. Hit the share button, but write this down. Listen, if you move on what you know, things will become clear to you. And so there are plenty that you know instinctively that you want to create a change and a shift in your life. You know instinctively that you want to take your business to the next level. You know instinctively that it's time for you to make a move. You know instinctively that you need to invest some more time, some more energy in your marriage, in your relationships. You know instinctively that this is the time that you need to maybe start doing some investing. You know instinctively that your book that you've been sitting on and thinking about, it's time for you to start working on it. You know instinctively that there's some things that you need to do. But understand this, listen, if you move on what you know, because there's plenty that you know, things will become clear to you. But understand this, if you don't move on what you don't know will paralyze you. And that is where we get stuck. That is where I want to help you to be able to get to that next level. I want to help you to get unstuck. I want you to shift the focus from everything that you don't know, from all the things that you believe that you don't have, and I want you to focus on whatever it is that you do have. I don't care if it's just a little teeny bit. Remember, you only need just a little bit to be able to simply be able to take action, to be able to simply move. Remember what I told you, put the hashtag move, because listen, we need to create a shift, right? We need to stop sitting on the sidelines of our lives, stop sitting on the sidelines and complaining, stop sitting on the sidelines. And I told you this last week, you need to be talking more about your purpose than you are about your problems. I'm gonna say that again. You need to talk more about your purpose than you are about your problems. And you need to create a shift mentally where you stop focusing on all the voids in your life and the things that you don't have. And you need to start marinating and working on what you got. Use whatever it is that you got. You see, that's what I like about the old school folks. They're real resourceful. You know, they don't focus on what they don't have. They know how to just take it. Listen, I remember, you know, sometimes my mom, she would take some of the leftover food from a party and so forth that we would have a get together. And then about 2 days later, she would make a whole nother kind of meal with it, right? She would season it. She'd maybe add a little something to it. Sometimes she would take it and put it into a soup. And what she did was she just used what she had. She could easily say, well, you know what? All I've got these leftovers. There's a bunch of things I don't have in my kitchen cabinet. No. She just used what she has. And sometimes you got to be willing to work with what you have. Because understand this, 20 years from now, this is profound what Mark Twain said. 20 years from now, when you look at your life, you're in the rocking chair, you're with your grandchildren, you're hanging out, you're at the midlife, or you're a little beyond midlife, you're in your 40s, you're in your 50s, you're in your 60s, you're in your 70s, you're in your 80s. You will look back at your life, and believe it or not, the things that are going to weigh the hardest on you, the things that you will regret most in life are not going to be things that you did. Listen, we all make some bonehead decisions in our lives. We got some things that we did that we wish we could take back. Some people that we dated, we like, boy, I don't know what I was thinking. Some people we're in a relationship with, some investments that we made, right? Some decisions that we made, some people that we decided to hang around with, some very poor decisions. We all have some decisions that we go look back on. We go say, man, I regret that. But I tell you this, no matter how bad you think that is going to weigh on you, what is going to cost you so much more is all the things that you did not do. You know, it was just yesterday, I was having a phone call with one of my friends, and he's a new father just like me. And he was saying, Andy, man, you know, being a new father, he said, one of the things is that, you know, your children are going to have you, you know, start interacting and meeting different parents and meeting different people. And he says his daughter, you know, has a friend, and he was chit-chatting with the friend's father. And so they were just doing small talk. And he said the friend's father said, hey, man, he said, hey, I got a tip from somebody who works for a pharmaceutical company, and they have this amazing drug that they're waiting for approval by the FDA. And he said, man, listen, he says, this company is about to be on an upswing. And so he told him, he said, man, this will be a great time for you to go ahead and invest in the company. And he said, my friend said he went and looked, he got the symbol and so forth. He went and looked, and he says that when he went and took a look, he said, man, Andy, when I went and took a look, he said, the crazy thing was when I went and took a look, he said, man, he said the stock was selling for about $30 a share. And he said, man, you know what? This guy's just giving me his advice. I mean, I don't even know. So my friend said, you know what? He decided not to buy any of the shares. And so my friend said, listen, he said, Andy, you won't believe this, man. He says about 2 weeks later, after we had that conversation, he said, the guy sent me a text message, and he said, man, you won't believe it. He says, did you notice how much the stock went up by? And so he said when he sent him the text, he put those 2 big eyeballs, you know those, when you can put the 2 big eyeballs where like you're trying to tell the person like, this is crazy. And so the 2 big eyeballs, he said, when he went and looked, he said the stock went from being $30 a share to being $61 a share. So that means whatever my friend would have invested, he would have doubled his money in a 2-week period. So if he would have invested $5,000, he would already double his money, it'd be $10,000. If he would have invested $7,000, it'll be $14,000. He said, Andy, man, it was crazy, man. He said that was bothering me so much. And he said, Andy, you won't believe this, man. He said, I didn't buy the stock when it was at $30, but he said after seeing that, he says, as crazy as it sounds, he said, man, you better believe I started buying the stock right there at $61. He said, I should have bought it when it was at 30. And I was listening to him, and I was saying, man, that's crazy, because how often does that happen to us in life? That we have something that we should have acted on, something that we should have done, but we failed to do it, and it cost us significantly. And so what I want to do is I want to save you from the pain, the agony of regret. They said that, listen, discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. Listen, this is what Jim Rohn said. I remember this. This is one of my favorite quotes of all time. Here's what he said. He said that we must all suffer from one of 2 pains in life. He said the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Listen, it takes discipline to act on your goals and your dreams. It takes discipline to be able, in the midst of having fear, doubt, and worry show up, to still be willing to pursue your goals and your dreams. It takes discipline to keep the main thing the main thing. It takes a great deal of discipline to go after the things that you want. But here's what Jim Rohn said. He said, we must all suffer from one of two pains in life. He said, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. He said, however, the difference is, listen carefully, the difference is discipline weighs ounces. It's light. But listen, regret weighs tons. And I'm telling you what I love about what Mark Twain said. He said that 20 years from now, listen carefully, you're going to regret more of the things that you didn't do as opposed to the things that you did do. And so I look back in my life and I think about times that opportunities presented themselves. And oftentimes when the opportunities present themselves, guess what happens? Opportunities have a shelf life. Opportunities have a window. And when we don't act on those opportunities, oftentimes they go away, never to return again. As a matter of fact, opportunity doesn't go away, but it simply goes to somebody else. And so here you are, you had this opportunity to do something, and when you don't do it, unfortunately, it goes away, it goes to somebody else. And so that's the reason why we have to be willing to act. I think about, I had some years back, I own a piece of property, and I got a phone call about the property right next door to it being available. And so they called me because they knew that I owned the property, and this property happened to be right next door. And so before they put the property out there in the market and let everybody be able to get bids and put in offers, they called me first. They allowed me first. And it was a vacant lot, basically, that wasn't necessarily going to produce any income. There was an old, very small, it wasn't quite vacant because there was one small little building on there. And so they called me up and they said, Andy, listen, you know, let us know if you're interested in buying this property. We can sell you this property for $300,000. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? It's got this little thing on there. It barely has any room for parking. You know, they're asking $300,000. I'm going to have to get this loan to purchase the property. I'm going to have to service the loan. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to put there that's going to generate income and so forth. And so I passed on the opportunity. I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pass. And lo and behold, they went ahead and sold the property to somebody else. Now, here's what I want you to do. Fast forward, about 4 years later, and that property that I could have bought for $300,000, that property right now is worth about $550,000. And so in a relatively short amount of time, I would have literally gotten about $250,000 worth of equity into that property. Or if I were to sell it, I'd probably get a profit of over $200,000. And so I want you to think about this. Why? Because I didn't act. I had enough information to act, but I wasn't willing to act. I wasn't willing to take the risk at the time. And so oftentimes what is going to cost us the most is not the things that we act on, but the things that we fail to act upon. And so I want you right now, just do me a favor, because I need to know who is going to take action. I need you to begin to take action in your life. So do me two favors. Number one, if you haven't shared this message yet, do me a favor and hit the share button, because I know there's somebody who's a part of your tribe, a family member, a friend, somebody that you know that can benefit from hearing this message, somebody who's sitting on the sidelines of their life, somebody who needs to take action and has no idea how much it's going to cost them in the future, more than anything that they could regret that they've done in the past, that it's going to cost them more in the future, all the things that they failed to act upon. And so what I am hoping is that as a result of listening to this message, that some people are going to take some action, some significant action, some things that they've been sitting on the sideline. So if they've been thinking about maybe perhaps going to counseling for their marriage, they're going to take some action. If they've been thinking about writing the book, they're going to take some action. If they've been thinking about starting the business, they're going to take some action. If they've been thinking about making a career change, they're going to take some action. If they've been thinking about trying to figure out what their purpose and their calling in, that they're going to take some action. This is the time to act. You got to take massive action when you want to create a shift and a change in your life. So do me a favor real quick, put hashtag take action, hashtag take action, hashtag take action. And that's just going to be my way of knowing that you are seriously serious about taking action in your life, that you are seriously serious about taking your life to that next level. because I firmly believe that there is nothing out there, not intelligence, not luck. There's nothing out there that is going to substitute the importance of you taking massive action. And so more important than anything else, you've got to be willing to simply act. And so I'm going to remind you this over and over again. You want to stop waiting to have all the pieces of the puzzle. It just doesn't work that way. You are never going to have all the pieces of the puzzle in life. You got to work with what you got. You got to take the little bit of what you got, and you got to find a way to take the pieces that you do have. A lot of times it's going to be incomplete, and you got to just simply work with the pieces that you do have, and understand that every single time you take a step, that the next step is going to reveal itself. That's why Martin Luther King said that faith is taking the first step even without seeing the entire staircase. The reason why he says that is when you take the step of faith and just simply take the first step, once you go up the first step, here's what happens. The next step is going to reveal itself. Then when you get to the second step, the third step reveals itself. Then when you get to the third step, the fourth step reveals itself. And before you know it, you begin to progress. Before you know it, you have gone up the staircase. Before you know it, you are closer to your goals, closer to your dreams, closer to your vision, closer to making some great things happen in your life. And so remember this, and I told you to write this down, and hopefully you did. I'm going to repeat it one more time, because this is profound. This is perhaps one of the most profound statements, and I want you to get this. Don't just write it down and leave it alone. Write this down and marinate on it. Listen carefully. There's two parts of it. The first part is on the screen. I'm going to give you the second part. The first part is, listen carefully. If you move on what you know, things will become clear to you. Now listen carefully, because I need you to understand this. You know more than what you think. Listen, there are some things that you know enough to be dangerous. You know enough to take action. What you know is that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. What you know is that there's a bigger calling and a purpose on your life. What you know is that you can take your business to the next level. What you know is that you can take your finances to the next level. What you know is that you can take your relationships to the next level. What you know is that you can take your spirituality to the next level. There's some things that you know. Listen carefully. If you move on what you know, things will become clear to you. People will begin to show up. Things will begin to reveal itself to you if you move on what you know. But listen carefully. Here's the second part. This is what trips everybody up. If you move on what you know, things will become clear to you. But listen carefully. If you don't move on what you don't know will paralyze you. Listen carefully. If you move on what you know, things will in fact become clear to you. But if you don't move on what you don't know will paralyze you. What you don't know will keep you from moving forward on your goals and your dreams. And most people live in a paralyzed state. They have something that they want to pursue, something that they want to do, and they become fixated and focused on what they don't have and what they don't know. And because of that, they never act. And so I want that to shift and change for you. So do me a favor right now, because I know that there's somebody that you know that needs to receive this message. Do me a favor. If you haven't already done so, hit the share button, And when you're done, put in the comment section, #shared. I know a bunch of you already shared this message, but for those of you who haven't yet, do me a quick favor. Hit the share button and put #shared, and that's just going to simply let me know that you shared this message. And so I told you at the beginning of this message that there is something that is going to cost you more than any past mistake that you've made in your life, any poor investment that you've made in your life, any poor relationship that you decide to be a part of, any poor decisions that you've made in your life. Understand that there's something that's going to cost you more than all of that. And that thing that's going to cost you more than all of those things is simply the things that you did not do, the actions that you did not take. And so I want to challenge you to take massive action. I want to challenge you to act on all the things that you've been wanting to act upon, that may perhaps that you convince yourself that you didn't have enough resources, that you didn't have enough knowledge, that you didn't have enough connections, that you didn't have enough of whatever it is that has kept you from taking action. And I want you right now to just simply focus on what you know. And remember that if you move on what you know, things will in fact become clear to you. But if you don't move on what you know, what you don't know will paralyze you. And so I'm truly hoping that there is something that you have in mind, that you're thinking about, that you say, you know what, I've been sitting on this thing, I've been contemplating this thing, Andy, I've been wanting to take action. And so hopefully this will be the time that you decide to act. This will be the time that you decide to just simply take action. Hashtag take action. Hashtag take action. Put that right now in the comment section. Take action. That'll be the first step to you doing whatever it is that you're going to commit to doing as a result of you hearing this message. First, put hashtag take action, because action literally allows you to build momentum. First, it starts off with you just simply putting your hand on the keyboard and putting hashtag take action, or typing it right now on your phone, hashtag take action. And then it leads to the next step. And then it leads to the next step. And then it leads to the next step. And then before you know it, now you're well on your way and you're making some things happen. Before you know it, you're well on your way and you're creating a shift and a change in your life. So yes, Lisa, that's right. Hashtag take action. Yes, Myra, I see you. Hashtag take action. Yes, Myra, thank you so much for sharing. I see you guys. And so thank you so much for doing that, because it's so very important, because I want you to create a shift. I want you to begin to take action. I want you to create a change in your life. And it is only going to happen if you're willing to take action. Yes, I see you. Hashtag take action several times by Christine. I see you. Yes, Darren Smith, I see you, man. Hashtag take action. Hashtag take action, because this is the time right now to create a shift, to create a change, to begin to take action in your life, because we don't want to look back at our lives 20 years from now and say, oh man, if only I would have written a book. Oh man, if only I would have started the business. Oh man, if only I would have put more into my marriage. Oh man, if only I would have gotten serious about my faith and my spirituality. Oh man, if only. Remember, discipline weighs action, but regret weighs tons. And yes, Sonia, I see you. Take action. Yes, Norma, I see you. Hashtag take action. Yes, this is your time. Things are about to shift. Things are about to change for you. And I'm so grateful that you decided to join me and be part of Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream. So before I sign off, listen, as all of you know, one of the things that I do specifically is I help people specifically who know that they, in fact, are either entrepreneurs, they're speakers, coaches, or they have a desire to become entrepreneurs, speakers, and coaches, and they're looking to elevate their brand. They're looking to take their lives to the next level. I help those people to be able to develop their voice, to be able to develop their story, to help them to go to the next level. And so just a couple weeks ago, I did a live stream training in which I shared the #1 strategy to get your audience to be able to connect with your story, to get people to be able to connect with you so that you can influence them, so that you can get them to take action. If you're a speaker, so that they want to bring you back to speak. If you're an entrepreneur, so that they want to buy your products and your services. I did a phenomenal training, and I want you to get access to the training completely complimentary for free. And I want to tell you how you get access to the training. All you have to do is open up another web browser and type in showupforyourlifetv.com. Everything spelled out just how you hear it. Showupforyourlifetv.com. And when you get there, just go ahead and fill in the information super quick, and it's going to allow you to get immediate action to this phenomenal training that I did, where I shared the #1 strategy to get your audience to be able to connect with your story. And this is a strategy that I teach many of my customers and my clients and many of my students, to be able to help them to leverage their stories so that they can have more influence, so that they can have more impact, so that they can sell more of their products and more of their services. Every time before I depart, I always want to leave you with a gift, because I believe that success literally leaves clues. And so we have to become seriously serious about getting the information, getting the training, so that we can create a shift in our lives. And so that is part of why I do these Thursday motivational calls, but that is also why I do the trainings. And so make sure that you get access to the training. One more time, just head on over to showupforyourlifetv.com, showupforyourlifetv.com, fill out the information, and really quickly, you'll be able to get access to an amazing, phenomenal training that I believe is going to help you to create a shift. And so, of course, before we sign off, of course, I want you to make sure that you get access to the training. But before we sign off, I told you this. I'm going to wrap up by reminding you, listen, here's something that's going to cost you more than anything else has cost you in your life. I know we've all made some decisions that may perhaps we regret. And so more costly than financial decisions you've made in the past that have cost you, more costly than relationship decisions you've made in the past, maybe poor relationships that you decide to be a part of, that's more costly than any other thing that you've done in your life. What's going to cost you more than anything are the things that you do not do, the things that you fail to act upon. Remember, Warren Buffett was asked, what's the worst investment you've ever made? And he says that, you know what? The worst investment that I've ever made are the investments that I failed to make. He said, I know that I've lost more money, not on the investments that I made that went south, that didn't work out, but on all the investments that I did not make. And so he said, he literally had a name for it. He said that those are called mistakes of omission. Mistakes of omission. Things that we failed to do. Things that we don't get to bear the fruit because we failed to act. And so I don't want you to have to deal with that kind of regret. I want you to take action. I want you to create a shift and a change in your life. And so, listen, if you just act on one thing, then it was worth it for me to spend this time with you. It was worth it for you to listen in on this message. So do me a favor as we sign off. Of course, if you haven't already done so, share this message with a friend or a family member, somebody that you know that could benefit. And as you sign off, just do me a quick favor and put hashtag take action, hashtag take action. And it's just a reminder that you're going to take action, that you're going to create a shift and a change in your life. And so once again, this has been Andy Henriquez. I thank you so much for tuning in and being part of Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream. I want to give a shout out to some people as we leave, as we sign off. Let me go ahead and call out some names. Roz Jones, Shronda, I see you, Norma, Sonia, Darren, Christine, Myra, Lisa. Let's see here. Who else we got here? Okay, we got Norma, Felita, Carrie. Thank you so much. I thank all of you for being part of Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream. Thank you for sharing the message. Thank you for being part of this movement. You can find me same time, same place next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Hashtag take action. Andrew Simpson, I see you, my man. Andrew Simpson is going to be joining us down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for the upcoming Master Storyteller Academy. For those of you who aren't aware of it, I am going to be doing a training down in South Florida on September 7th through the 9th in beautiful Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It is known as the Master Storyteller Academy. And literally, this is a 3-day transformational training where literally I teach you how to be able to take your story and leverage your story so that you can make tremendous impact. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and type that in right now. Master Storyteller Academy. All right. So that many of you who are tuning in right now, if you don't know anything about it, you can head on over to Master Storyteller Academy to get information. Seeing Andrew pop up on the screen just reminded me, I didn't even mention that. The next training is September 7th through the 9th. So Master Storyteller Academy for those of you who want to check that out. So once again, thank you so much for joining me on the Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream. God bless you all. See you next week. Thank you. Have a good night. Excellent. All right, Lewis, my man, how you doing?